Hang on. Hang on. Let's All right, we're about to get started. Let me let me try it again. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, what's up, party people? It is Monday, April 10th, 2023. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee and Nuance Show. And today I want to talk about story selection. You know, the media loves to play this game when they're trying to choose which story they're going to talk about. It's like they're on Tinder and they're going, good story, good story. Oh, not so good story, not good story. Hot, hot, not. And let's be real, folks. Most of the time, their choices suck. I mean, you turn on the news, and all you see is celebrity gossips and politicians making a fool of themselves. It's like we're watching bad reality TV. But here's the thing, folks. The media isn't the only one to blame. We are responsible for what we choose to focus on. And let's be honest, sometimes we're not exactly the brightest crayons in the box, or whatever the expression is. I mean, who hasn't fallen for one of those ridiculous Facebook articles, something like, eat chocolate, you can lose weight? Yeah, right. And my name's Shaquille O'Neal. But the real problem here is we're too focused on the wrong things. We're busy worrying about who's winning The Bachelor instead of what's really happening in the world. And it's not like we have real issues to worry about. I mean, have you seen the price of Brussels sprouts lately? Crazy, crazy. So let's start by paying attention to things that really matter. Let's focus on things that affect us all. And let's not just rely on the news to tell us what's important. We can actually look into it ourselves and make our own informed decisions, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to live with the consequences. And when all else fails, laughter, get a good chuckle every once in a while. Hopefully we can have that today, because as long as we can laugh, everything's going to be all right, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. My name's Tom Coffee. This is the Coffee and Nuance Show, best censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Okay, and apparently we're getting some kind of error, so let me see if I can fix that real quick. Looks to be okay. Looks to be, I don't know. Mess with the settings. This is what happens. So yikes. But let's talk about story selection, shall we? And to do that, let's talk about story selection. Yeah, story selection. This is what happens. We go and look for the news. And where do you get your news? Do you get it on, your news feed on your phone, Apple News or Google News? Do you watch cable news? Do you get your local newspaper? Well, what's really important is what they choose to tell you about. Because what the corporate news does, hang on a second, I'm having errors again. Hang on, folks. I'm trying. I don't know what is happening. When you say the music's loud enough, I don't know. Okay, the sound is loud. The music's loud. God damn it. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh shit! What happened? I don't know what happened, folks. I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's going on. We can hear you, but just barely. Well, I don't know why that is. I Can you hear me now? Music was too loud. Okay. Can you hear me now? Hang on, let's see. What's happening? Okay. Okay, you can see me. Can you hear me? Okay. I sound the same. Good. Just use your outdoor voice. All right. Ugh. Okay. Uh yeah. Well, I don't think this is going to be the first podcast because it's an absolute S show. So I will just do the show and then delete it. But I'll do the show for the people that are here right now. Let's see. So here's the stories. See, voice is low. Intro music normal as always. Voice is low. I don't know why the voice is low. I don't know why. Check, check. Check, check, check. Check. It seems to be loud here. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All right, so here's the stories I'm going to talk about today. Oh, I'm trying to put a spin on it. Can you see the frustration in my face? Trying to put a spin on it. But I want to talk about story selection, and I have an example. It has to do with MarketWatch. Joe Biden's got an army of influencers. Oh, yeah, he does. No cash withdrawals with one of the big banks in Australia. There's a Shuraka shortage. Not storage, shortage. Got some warning about passwords, and the good news has to do with Narcan. Yeah. Who cares? All right. Let's talk about this story selection. Okay. I don't know about you, but I get different sources for my news. Different sources. And, on my phone, I have an iPhone and I have an Android, and they both have different news feeds. And then I go into other things. But what I've noticed, for example, on my Android Google News feed, this idiot right here, MarketWatch is pushed on me all the time, almost every single day. And I've clicked on the little 3 dots and I say, please don't show this to me. This is not interesting to me. I do all of what is required so I don't have to see this goofy cartoon of a nerd trying to tell me about home finance. But no matter what I do, it keeps getting pushed on me. I've never read a MarketWatch article. I don't care about it. I'm not interested in it. And every single day, Google is pushing it on me. And this just shows you the power that they have. Now, I was wondering why would Google be pushing MarketWatch on everyone? Do you have any idea? Well, I have a story for you. Let me tell you why. Okay? News Corp has announced a global news deal with Google that will see the two companies collaborate on a subscription platform, revenue sharing through Google's ad technology services, audio journalism, and video journalism by YouTube. The deal marks a turnaround in the relationship between the two, which has been marked by public feuding, particularly in Australia, where Google threatened to shut down its search engine to avoid unworkable content laws. Financial details of the agreement were not disclosed, but News Corp said that it involves significant payments by Google. So Google has some kind of deal with News Corp. News Corp, guess who? News Corp owns Dow Jones. And guess who owns Dow Jones? Take a guess. That's right, it's MarketWatch. Yeah, so Google is in partnership with this stupid blog here that gets pushed in my news feed every single day that I'm not interested in whatsoever. Yeah. And you wonder why you get certain news. Some of it has to do with getting paid. And other times it has to do with an agenda. You know, it's interesting. I have talked about a couple things on this channel that I think are really big deals. And a lot of people have not heard about these topics, even though I think that they're the most important topics that there are. For example, you know, the petrodollar is a really big deal. One of the most important things that has to do with our economy. And you will never hear about it in the mainstream press. You won't. It all has to do with the stories that they choose to tell you about, because that's what they're saying is important to you. Yeah. That's what they're saying is important. And so you may wonder, hey, Tom, how do you choose your stories? And I tell you what, it's really hard to do the right thing. It's really hard because I decided when I was doing this show that I would not do a story that I didn't care about or that I didn't find interesting. That's the criteria. Is it interesting to me? And do I think it's important? Now, occasionally, I will do a story that's just interesting to me that may not be that important. It's my channel. I can do whatever I want. The other one is I will do stories that I think are really important that might not be interesting to me. But those are the two things that I look for. Because if it's not interesting to me, and I don't think it's important, what's the point? And ask yourself, when you look at your news feed, is this story interesting? Is this story important? And if not, why the hell are they pushing it on me? That's the real interesting question. Yeah. And I don't know why the screen is glitchy. I don't know. I'm going to have to re-record this whole thing. So, anyway, let's get to the next story. President Biden's digital strategy team plans to use social media influencers to promote his record in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election. The team will target young voters and those who are not connected to the Democratic Party. The unpaid and like-minded influencers will be invited to a dedicated White House. All right, let me try it again. I'm really thrown off. My equipment is failing me right now. So let me see if I can read this and actually take it in. Sorry. President Biden's digital strategy team plans to use social media influencers to promote his record in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election. The team will target young voters and those who are not connected to the Democratic Party. The unpaid and like-minded influencers will be invited to a dedicated White House briefing space where they can meet Biden and his team. The aim is to boost Biden's popularity among younger voters and counter former President Trump's social media following if he becomes the GOP nominee in 2024. Biden's strategy focuses on platforms such as Instagram and TikTok, which are popular with younger voters. So, how about that? How about that? We can talk about how TikTok is terrible and it needs to be banned, but we're still going to get a bunch of influencers on it to push our candidacy, right? And giving White House access and having their own room that they can show up and meet the staff and all that kind of stuff. How do I become a social media influencer? How do I get to do that? I would like to do that. Give me access to the White House. I will pretend to push Joe Biden. You know, I'll go have an ice cream cone with him. But I suppose I don't suppose I'm an influencer in any way. I think perhaps because I might be influential, that might be why I'm not an influencer. But that's just my take on it. But good strategy. Go after the kids. They're the easiest ones to fool. I don't know. Do you have any thought on that? Let me know in the comments. And remember, stick around in the after show where I will reply to your comments. Let's go to the next story. ANZ, one of Australia's biggest banks, has announced that certain branches will no longer allow customers to withdraw money over the counter, instead directing them to ATMs. ANZ has not disclosed which branches will be affected, but insists that only a small number will be affected. The move comes as cash transactions continue to decline in Australia, with just 13% of purchases now using banknotes or coins. Cybersecurity experts have warned that a cyber attack could potentially stop major banks from conducting electronic transactions. Critics have raised concerns that the move could harm older people and those with disabilities who still rely on physical cash. Well, what I will say to that is I do not like this move away from cash. Cash is independence. You cannot be independent if someone has control over your money. And if 100% of your money is tied up in accounts that the government can control, we're in trouble. They're testing this out in Australia, but there's a big push globally to have central bank digital currencies. And one of the ways to push this is to make cash harder and harder to use and to acquire. Now, you know, they say, oh, you need cash. Well, you can just go to the ATM. Well, they have limits on the ATM. I can go to my bank, and if I need 5,000 in cash, I can ask them for 5,000 in cash, and they should give it to me. I can't get 5,000 in cash from an ATM. I'm not sure what the limit. I think it's $300 is the limit on my ATM. Not sure. But they can just say, hey, those are the rules. Hey, we don't keep cash in this location. You have to go to the ATM. This is a move towards having currency that is controlled by the government. This is not a positive development whatsoever. They're testing it out. That's what they do. They test things out in different places to see if it works. I know that as far as this idea of testing out ideas, in Portland, we do a lot of things where we test out ideas. So it's not rolled out nationwide. So a lot of real progressive things will be tested here to see if they work or not. Spoiler, most of the time they don't work. But that's what this is. This is a trial balloon to see how you react when you don't have access to your cash. And if people don't raise a big enough fuss about it, cash is going away. Yeah. I am making a prediction right now that we will have a central bank digital currency here in the U.S. By the end of the year. That is my prediction. I am not in favor of it whatsoever, but that's what I see happening. Hopefully this won't be the case, but we see cash just disappearing everywhere. I know there are lots of stores that I go to now that don't even take cash anymore. And I don't even know how that can be legal. I thought you had to take cash. But they say, oh, no cash at our location. Credit cards only. And there's a minimum, you know. So don't expect to buy something really cheap there. But they're trying this out in Australia. We'll see what happens. Anyway. Let's get to the next story. This is a really scary story. Okay. Hung Fong Foods, the company that produces Shiraka hot sauce, is experiencing an unprecedented inventory shortage and does not know when supplies will return to store shelves. Last year's drought conditions in Mexico caused a shortage of red jalapeno peppers, which are used to make Shiraka, resulting in a limited supply. Although some production resumed in the fall, the company is still experiencing a shortage that continues to affect production. Retailers are rationing how many bottles shoppers can buy, and restaurants are struggling to find wholesalers to replenish their low reserves. Hung Fong Foods says it is working to avoid future shortages. So, are you a big Shiraka fan? Probably saying that wrong. Great hot sauce, and I've been trying to buy some. That's why I looked into this story. Couldn't find it at my markets. I ended up having to get a knockoff Trader Joe's because I couldn't find any of the real stuff. This is a big deal for a lot of people. For many people, this is like ketchup. They use it every single day on their food, and to have that go away is a real tough thing. What do you like your Shiraka on? I tell you what I find it really good in is if you make a tuna mac and cheese. Put a whole bunch in, stir it up, kind of turns the whole thing, pink. It's so tasty. It's so good with a mac and cheese. That's one of my favorites. But what do you have your Shiraka on? Let me know in the comments. All right. A new study by cybersecurity firm Home Security Heroes shows that artificial intelligence, AI, can easily crack 51% of common passwords in under a minute using PassGAN, a password generator based on a generative adversarial network, GAN. PassGAN uses real password leaks to generate realistic passwords that you may use, making it different from other password generators that depend on manual password analysis. The study reveals that a password with at least 15 characters and a strong pattern combining upper and lowercase letters with numbers and symbols is needed to protect your password's integrity. Changing passwords every 3 to 6 months and avoiding using the same password for different accounts is also recommended. The AI can crack 8 to 9 character passwords in 7 hours and 2 weeks, respectively. But it takes 14 billion years to decode a 15-character password. Passwords. What a pain. What a pain. You can't remember all your passwords. You need a system. I don't really trust these password managers because I figure if the password manager is compromised, then they have all your passwords. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old to put my faith in a password manager. I do it old school. I have a little spiral notebook where I write down every single password, every single account, and every single password is different for every account. That's how I roll. And I think that is what you're going to have to do. You can't be lazy here. You can't use the same password because this can really wreck everything if you do. So in this, they were talking about how quickly these passwords can be cracked. And you are going to have to use numbers and symbols and upper and lowercase and go for, at least 10 digits or 12 digits. Anything less than that, you're really putting everything at risk. And it's not just the money that can be messed up here. It's the amount of time that it takes to fix these problems. Time is money. And if I have to deal with trying to recover a password from a company, it can take so long. It's not worth, hours of my time to fix these things. And so that's just my reminder now with this new AI that you can't rely on weak passwords anymore. Just don't do it. Going forward, figure out a system for yourself for passwords and how you are going to keep those safe. Let's get some good news, because I need some good news. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has approved Narcan, the drug that can rapidly reverse the effects of opioid overdose for over-the-counter use without prescription. The approval will allow the sale of the nasal spray containing 4 milligrams of naloxone hydrochloride directly to consumers in places like drugstores, convenience stores, grocery stores, and gas stations. Drug overdoses remain a major public health issue in the U.S., with over 100,000 reported overdoses occurring in the 12-month period ending October 2022, primarily driven by synthetic opioids like illicit fentanyl. Other formulations and dosages will remain available by prescription only. So this really is good news, because you can save a life. You can be a life saver. You can pick up over the counter this Narcan. Now, 2 doses looks like it's about $40 if it's the generic over the counter. I don't know how long these last. You know, I know with EpiPens, you know, you can't just get an EpiPen and expect it to work 3 years later. You know, it's supposed to have certain temperature requirements and it has an expiration on it. But this is something that you can pick up and save a life, not just from drug addicts, but maybe just from someone that used some party drugs and it had something bad mixed in it. It had some fentanyl in it. Now, again, you know, the best strategy is not to take any drugs. Not take any drugs that could have fentanyl in it. It's real scary what's happening in that now. But you could be a lifesaver. You could, you know, if your neighbor, if someone out in front of your house, if you happen to have it in your car, there's a drug overdose and there's no ambulance close by, you could run up, spray this in their nose, save a life. I think it's worth considering, especially if you live in an area around a lot of people. I'm considering it. I think I may. I'll have to find out if it can be stored, or if it can be stored like in a glove box, or if it has to be kept in a refrigerator. I don't know enough about that. I'll have to look into that. But I do think that this is good news, and it's about damn time. We've had this available for people, and to not make it available to the public until now seems criminal to me. But that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, that's it. That's all the stories I have for you today. Did not work very well today. I had a lot of technical issues. And so this broadcast will be hidden after I'm done with it. And I may have to record another version of it. I need to go back and look and see what the quality is like and what the issues were. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is record. I'm going to re-record this, and I am going to post it on YouTube under the podcast tab. And it will be up, I will say, it will go live at 3 o'clock on the West Coast. So 2.5 hours from now. That'll give me a little time to put it up. I'm going to post it on on the podcast tab. If you got nothing going on later today, if you could do me a favor and go over to the podcast tab and click on it, and you don't even have to listen to it. Just let it play. Hit the like button. And let's see if I can get a few more views today than I'm getting normally, which is very, very, very few. So anyway, I will let me talk to you in the after show, and I will be back tomorrow, hopefully with fewer errors. So I'll see you mañana or in the after show. Peace. Hey, everybody. All right. Thanks for sticking around. Obviously, today did not go the way I wanted it to go. I had all kinds of tech issues. I tried. I just want to cry. Okay, so at the beginning, Duggo on Rumble says, stream doesn't seem to be working. Never mind. Seems like an issue on my browser. No, I think it was me. Rev68 says, these days, you need to be more than an influencer to get invited to the White House. You need to be a groomer. Well, don't think that's true, but it kind of looks that way. Federal Reserve says they don't have the legal authority to issue a central bank digital currency and would need Congress to act. However, that wouldn't stop Biden from just having them do it anyway. Yeah, there's a whole lot of that where they're just doing things anyway, and the law doesn't seem to matter anymore. And what we've learned is you can just declare an emergency, and then you can make any rule you want to. So I know they've been testing out a Fed coin, or whatever we want to call it. And so it is my expectation that we'll see it soon. See what's going on over on YouTube. Okay, the beginning is probably barely hear you. The sound is low. Music's too loud. All kinds of stuff I'm going to have to try to fix. Nice shirt. Thank you, Miranda. I like this shirt. This is this is from Hawaii. This is a Hilohati brand. One of the big original Hawaiian shirt makers. Murdoch family still owns News Corp. Is this part of manufactured consent, or is that something else? It would be along the lines there. That's what story selection is. You'll only hear what they tell you. Very true. I came from the Dalai Lama video, says K-Pro. Hi. Have you seen the news on him? Yes, I did see the news on the Dalai Lama. You know, a lot of times when there's something crazy, there's some kind of crazy story about someone, if you give it a day or two, it turns out that it was overblown. So I'm not sure. It looked crazy to me, but I just don't want to chase things until I can really understand them better. So we'll see what happens with the Dalai Lama story in the next couple of days. I never get information I'm interested sent in my feed. I have to find it, said Lucid Moments of Reality. Me too. There's very rare in my feed. It's funny, it knows I like certain subjects, and so it pushes stories in those subjects. Yeah. I've never been influenced by an influencer. So you think. Unpaid, Brooklyn Dad and Politics Girl are paid. I would love to be paid. You know, at this point, pay me. I'll make propaganda. I'm ready to sell out. I don't know. Jesse says, I think about any news that surfaces and is promoted is not important. I see news media just like WWE wrestling. It's an entertainment first, hyperbolic and divisive with a facade of something else. It really is. It really is. What's up with Dalai Lama? It was something weird. It was just weird. I don't know. It's so weird I'm not even talking about it. Tom influences me to wear more Hawaiian shirts. Well, my Hawaiian shirts are just a reminder to enjoy the day if it's a holiday. Right? Tom influenced me to have coffee at noon. Yeah, I should really cut down on the coffee. I could even have like prop coffee, but I just don't do it. I make another cup of coffee for the show. Natasha says, I heard Zimbabwe has been cashless for 2 years already. I had not heard that, but that's interesting. Might be something to look at. You'll own nothing, including your money, and enjoy it. Yeah, we've heard that. It's all part of the plan. All part of the plan. We need to go back to the gold standard. Is that what BRICS did? So BRICS, I think he probably did a spell check correction there. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They do not necessarily have a common currency on the gold standard, although Russia's ruble is pegged to gold. But I suspect that BRICS will have some kind of common currency or something to resolve debts between those countries. It wouldn't surprise me if they came out with a currency that was tied to gold or something tangible. I don't know why we ever left the gold standard. Well, there'd have to be speculation as to why we did that, but if you're on a gold standard, you just can't just print endless money. It's not allowed. And you print all the money, then you can send money to people that are contributing to your campaign, right? Or letting you invest in their stock. All kinds of shadiness, but having it on the gold standard would probably cut out a lot of the shadiness. So I guess we can't have that. Central bank digital currencies, the end of yard sales. Well, no. What they expect to do is you have a yard sale, you have your garage sale, and you have people pay with their phone with the central bank digital currency. And then that money will be reported to the IRS, and you have your garage sale, and they are looking to maybe get some taxes on it from your garage sale. Yeah, that's coming. We'll all need to have Venmo accounts or something similar. Lots of that. Sir Racha. Is the price going up like a gas shortage, $10 a bottle? No, just the bottles aren't there. They're just not there. You go to the Asian market where they usually have a whole shelf full, and the brand name that you all know with the rooster on it is just not there at all. I like it with stir fry, but I can use chili garlic sauce instead. I put Shiraka on a tortilla and eggs dish. Yum. Very good. No Shiraka for me. I eat the peppers straight. Yeah, okay. I have Tapatio hot sauce in my fridge. Yeah, Tapatio, the thing with Tapatio is like a Tabasco, but it's hard to get a volume in there. You know, you're making a big macaroni and cheese tuna casserole. You know, you really need something you can squeeze into it to get a lot of things, to get the stuff in there. Erie Fairy says, I'm old school. I write everything down. Jesse says, I don't trust password managers. Until recently I gave in. I also have different passwords, but one day the AI itself will have the keys to the castle, every account you have. I suspect that is true. And so I just don't trust these password managers, and it's not based on, I have no evidence. It's just my gut that you're putting everything in one basket. And so an employee There could be a leak from the password company. An employee could leak it. There could be some kind of attack on the password company, and then they would have access to every single password you have. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Tom used today's broadcast to learn how to attach subtitles just for the beginning part. I'll work on it. I'll work on it. We're the chosen one to be part of it. Okay. Where will this podcast button be located? On the tabs, if you're on your phone, if you go to my channel, there's different tabs. One is videos, one is live. I think one is content, and that might be just posts, like community posts, and one will be podcasts. And it's the same thing on the desktop version. If you go to someone's channel, there are different tabs, different sections, and you can click on podcast. So, yeah, see about that. Coffee and Sellout, new show. I'd do it. I would do it, because if I sold out, I could get some newer equipment. I could pay for better internet connection, a faster computer, maybe some equipment that would allow me to stream at a high bit rate. Money solves a lot of problems. It doesn't solve every problem. Now, one of the things that I like to say is that if money can solve all of your problems, life is pretty good. Because the problems that you can't solve with money, those are the real problems. Those are the real problems. If you can't solve it with money, that's a real problem. Relationships, family, health. Yeah. That you can't solve with money. So, but yeah, I'd be all about selling out. 100%. Hook me up. Anyway, looks like that's all I have today. Again, I am going to try to re-record this and put it up as a podcast. This is just going to disappear in a couple of minutes. It will just disappear as soon as I end the live stream. And the podcast will be live 3 o'clock on the West Coast. If you could do me a favor, just come on by, watch it, hit the like button. You can mute it and walk away, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. This has been an incredibly frustrating start to the week for me, but we'll get better. We'll get better. Anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Peace.